Good morning, everybody. This is Keith. We are at the 4A ranch. This is my wife and I's ranch. We also have 4A performance horses. And I just wanted to kind of give an update today, maybe a little vlog or whatever you want to call it, of what we got going on. I need to get a little bit more consistent with these videos. So anyways, figured I'd give this view instead of my ugly mug. Kind of show you the mess we got going on here. This is the new barn after the tornado. Yeah, this is a 2024 model. We got junk laying everywhere. It's just kind of wherever we can make a pile following the tornado. Tornado's been a year, 2 years actually, almost in April. But it's been a year since we've been back in our new home. So, like I said, we got junk laying everywhere. I had a huge pile of just all kinds of miscellaneous lumber that was used to build the house here. The guys were nice enough to pile it up for us and put it here. There was quite a bit of rebar in there too, so pulled that out. Just a random tire. Yeah, just got to find a spot for these kinds of things. That's one thing that's been on my agenda, and it's still on my agenda because I can never seem to figure out what spot I want to put things in. Same with all this stuff over here. It's just a pile of stuff, you know. I've got floor jack stands, burner. I mean, this is a lot of this stuff is just stuff that survived the tornado. And we just put it in a pile here. I'd like to get this moved though, because once it gets a little bit nicer and drier, we just got some decent rain from a storm that blew through. Once it dries up a little bit, my uncle's coming out with a dozer. He's going to level out quite a bit of this area over here and up through here, and then we're putting rock down and graveling that. So the plans here for the barn are, I've got these gates, gates and panels. This area will be 3 runs, 1, 2, and 3, and they will come out to about this corner. I got a good example of that on the back side. I'll walk around and show you. We are training horses here, and we're also going to be doing some boarding once I get everything finished up. There's Hickory. I've kind of got these set up on the backside. They are not done. At least they're not done to the standard that I would like, but it got my horses outside, so that was the most important part. Get them some fresh air when I can't, you know, put them out in the pasture. I don't want to put them out in pasture 24/7, 365, because I like to keep my pastures nice. And they will just eat and eat and eat. So one thing you got to watch in the spring is founder. All that nice, luscious, sugary grass goes straight to their feet. So, but this is kind of what it will look like. You know, I got runs here. Blaze over here, he's got the smallest run. You can kind of tell it's a little bit smaller than the rest. I think it's about a 10-footer, roughly. These are 12 for Elmo and Hickory. These two are training horses, Blaze and Elmo. Hickory, he probably won't ever leave us. He is the tornado survivor, aren't you, buddy? Yeah, he's the tornado survivor. So storms and winds like today and stuff like that, he gets a little sketchy. I'd say he's got some horse PTSD going on. But anyways, yeah, so we got started the manure pile over there for all the horse poop. As you can see, it's real muddy through here. That's gonna hopefully get taken care of once things dry up and my uncle can come out with that dozer, and once we get the rock laid down, all this will be rocked. The only thing that's not going to be rocked are in these runs. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see this white here, that's lime. and there's actually a lime path going all the way up. My plan is I'll put some a board, kind of like a boards that you'd put up for concrete, like if you're getting ready to pour concrete. I'll put that up out here in the run all the way around, and then I plan to fill this with lime and level it out, but have a slight slope going down that way. Lime packs down pretty hard, packs down like concrete. It's not concrete, but it's similar in that respect. In fact, that's what we have their stalls packed down with, is lime. It does have a little bit of an absorption, it does absorb just a little bit. Does not absorb a lot, but same thing is going to be done out here. You know, panels up, lime down. You can tell looking at the corner of the building over there that, you know, it sits higher, which I kind of wanted that. But it also creates a dilemma when you don't have anything on the outside, because then you start to lose, for instance, you start to lose some of the rock from underneath the concrete, which is not good. That's the base of the concrete. That's what kind of keeps it from breaking away. But we're not losing a ton, so I'm not too concerned about it. We got to pick all this stuff up. That's a big one. The other thing that's huge on my agenda is to get the fence done for the sheep. My sheep are looking rough. I'm having to feed them hay. Some of the mamas are a little on the thin side. This area here is all sacrifice area. This is what I came up with that was the best option that I could come up with at the time to get them through the winter, honestly. They use those huts, porta huts. They worked great. They need areas where they can get out of here. I don't like this because it can cause them to be extremely wormy. As you can tell, they got poo all over here, poo load, and they will just keep the grasses ate down. Your parasite load lives in the first 2 to 3 inches of growth. So having them in here, extremely likely to have a parasite load, which I do not want, because I do not plan to worm unless absolutely necessary. So the plan there is to get this area fenced off back here in the wood line. Kind of show you that. Now keep in mind, guys, everything here is temporary. The reason it's temporary right now is because nothing is set up properly like how I would like it to be done. Or I shouldn't say properly, it's not finished. So this is where the sheep are going to go, down here in this wooded area. They're still going to have access to the porta huts. I definitely do want those still, for them to be able to get in out of weather. But having them in the tree line alone is most of the time good enough. Even up where they're at during inclement weather, half the time they're not even in the porta huts until it gets just really bad. They're going to have a lot of work to do in here. There's a ton of down trees, a couple widowmakers also, but I would rather them have access to this. I don't know how many acres this is, maybe two acres here. Let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sheep. And on the back side here, oh yeah, this is one of our trees that used to sit in our yard. Huge tree, just absolutely gorgeous, ginormous tree. Had a huge canopy, and it was just a real pretty tree. And obviously you can see tornado just split that sucker in two and laid it over here. So this is the temporary setup we got for the dogs. We moved them back here, so the house and that retaining wall would create a wind block. Half the time they stay right here in the wind, which makes perfect sense. But yeah, this is absolutely temporary. These are 2 Great Pyrenees, so having an area this small is not ideal. Great Pyrenees need area to roam. Like I said, keep in mind that everything here is temporary until I can get all my fence finished, which a lot of that is on the agenda for today. I don't think I will get it completely done today, but a good chunk of it will be. So let's take a look over the hill here. Yeah, there's the area that the sheep and the Pyrenees dogs are going to go. Mind you, by the way, those 2 ginormous dogs are just turned a year old. They're huge. They're huge. They're big babies. Go in there, they just slaughter all over you. It's ridiculous. But anyways, let's see if I can get a good visual here. Looking directly into the sunlight. Okay, so there's a post right there. I don't know if you can see it or not. There's a post right there, and you can kind of see some lines running parallel with the ground. Those are polybraid, black polybraid lines, electric. Those are coming out. I'm putting high tensile up. I'll walk over and show you what I mean by high tensile. But that's kind of where it's going to go, is off in this area, down to a corner. Where's the corner? Over there. There it is. Yeah, so it's going to go off in that corner. And then go all the way down the path we have here. Over here. Just keep walking around the house, I guess. Let's see, where am I at? By the way, all these white posts are also where the fence is going to run through. These are fiberglass posts. They flex. It's super awesome. Once we have a little bit more sturdy ground, and what I mean by that is more growth, more grass, more vegetation, basically. These won't be as loose in the ground, but they've been set all winter, so they've been through a freeze and now going through a thaw. So we got this lovely mess here. So kind of looks crazy, but the idea is this is a brace, and that will have a brace running across, okay? This will have a brace, creating an opening through here. The purpose of that is because where I'm currently standing is where the sheep can get to. They will be on this side of the fence and this side of this fence down into there. So what this does is allows me to, when I want to move them, bring them up this hill, which that might be a feat, but we'll see. Bring them up this hill, funnel them through here, and shoot them off. Let's see if I can get a good view here. Shoot them off down this way. This whole ravine down here, I wanted to have access to the sheep, or have access to the ravine for the sheep. That way, if we needed to basically give our pastures or wherever they're at a break, I can kick them in the ravine. They're sheep. They're not going to get hurt by a ravine. If it were cattle, I'd be a little bit more concerned. But with sheep, you know, they do pretty well going up and down hills. They do prefer little bit more hilly country, they'll sleep on the high side of hills so they can kind of get an overwatch of everything. But this is the high tensile that I was talking about, this stuff here. I just got it wrapped around this post right now. We ran 2 of the wires up. Once I get 3 up and actually finished off going down here, then I can actually put the sheep in. I would feel perfectly comfortable having 3 up for the sheep. The reason I would need to put all 5 up is because of these little turds over here. They will test that fence. They test that Premier One electric netting fence, and they have gotten out of it. They test it all the time. Of course, when they test it and it works, that's a bad day for them, because that charger that's on there, it puts out 2.4 joules, I think. So yeah, there's a good amount of zap in that fence that they like to test all the time. But anyways, so the first one, first hole, by the way, this wire is not attached to that hole yet. I have this one attached just to keep it up off the ground, but not this one. The first and bottom hole is about 6 to 8 inches off the ground. Okay, a sheep has to touch the wire. The dogs have to touch a wire to go underneath. Anywhere on this fence that the wire might be high, might be a little bit higher, I'm probably going to sink another post. So I'll use this as an example. If there's a post here and a post here, and we have a deep spot here, I'm probably going to put another post in there. I don't consider that wasting a post, because I don't want sheep to get out. I don't want my dogs to get out. I've already had to chase those dogs, and they're a pain in the butt to get back. So anyways, first one is about 6 to 8 inches off the ground. Second one, I think, is another 6 inches, and I think it goes 6 or 8 inches up each time, to where at the top we're at about 42 inches, I think, or something like that. The other reason I want to have it at 42 inches or somewhere around there is for deer. Okay, so I see deer hung up in barbed wire like a lot of people do field fence. There's nothing wrong with field fence is great. Terrible for goats. Will work for sheep, will work for cattle. Most of the time we'll keep the dogs in too, because it is a physical barrier. This is like 20% physical, 80% psychological barrier. You know, majority of this is because you get zapped. That's what keeps an animal in. But I see deer get hung up on fences all the time. And what happens is people have field fence come up probably, 48 inches, somewhere around there, maybe 42 to 48 inches. And then above that, even somewhere around 52 inches high, they have a stringer of barbed wire. While that's great for livestock, to keep a horse in, keep cattle in, it's nice and tall. It's great for livestock. Deer will take it out all the time. They'll get caught up on it. One, it's not nice to the deer. They have to try to jump over this thing with a catch at the top. If they get caught, half the time it like rips open the skin on a leg. As they fall, it tears the skin open even more. They end up dying hanging on the fence. Sometimes they catch their gut, rips them open that way. They're not going to get caught on this. There's no getting caught on smooth wire. The other thing is it's low enough. It's easy. It's easy for them, for does and their fawns to jump over. The other thing is that they do hit it. Say they don't see the wire. It is smooth. It doesn't have anything flashy on it. Say they don't see the wire and they end up hitting it. Guess what? These posts flex, and then they come back up. They're fiberglass. They're coated fiberglass. They got UV protection on them. They hit that fence, it flexes, and then it comes back up. The wire itself, each one is going to have a spring on it. Probably down there, way down there at the gate. But it'll have a spring on it. It'll be kept nice and taut, but that spring will have enough flex on it too, to where when a deer hits that, they'll just smack it. It'll flex. They'll probably end up falling through the wires, get up and run off. And guess what? There's no fence for me to have to fix and replace. Another thing, we have a bunch of trees here. We have a bunch of down trees. If a tree falls on this fence, if it falls on a post, the likelihood of something breaking obviously is going to happen. If I can reduce that though, that'd be much better. So if a tree falls, say on the center of this, that's the most ideal situation, falls on the center of the wire, guess what? It flexes. It's not a huge deal. You come out with your chainsaw, might have to worry about some animals being out, sure, but you'd have to worry about that with any other fence too, if a tree falls on your fence. The biggest thing though is with a different fence, with a woven wire, not cattle fence, but field fence, something of that nature. If a tree falls on that, if you don't have to fix it, it's going to look like crap, if you're worried about looks, but most of the time you're going to have to fix it. Do some repairs to the fence. The only repair you'd have to do here is cut the tree off of it, and it'll spring back up. If it doesn't spring back up, go down to the tensioner where the springs are, tighten your tensioner up a little bit. Like this is a no-brainer to me. It's a 12.5 gauge. Can't remember the PSI. 180,000, I think, PSI. So it is high tensile, but it's not at such a high PSI to where you basically touch it and it breaks like glass. That's not what this stuff is. As long as you have a little bit of a stretch in it or flexibility in the fence, it should not break. If you were to just tie it up to a post up here, hard tie, and not have any flexion in these, you see how that wire is moving? That's just a little bit more flexibility. Even though it's not a lot there, over the course of 100 posts, that's a lot of flexibility. Keep that flexibility in your fence, and when something hits it or something falls on it, you're not going to break your wire. And here's another nice thing. If for some reason the wire does break, likelihood of it's pretty low, but if it does, grab a crimp it. It's super easy to fix. I mean, it's nothing to fix a high tensile. You can buy each roll. I think they're 4,000 feet. I think. I don't know how many. How many miles it would take, or how many feet of wire that would take to get a mile of fence. But 4,000 feet of wire for like $120, I think. It's pretty economical. The only thing that's not economical is the wood post, which we got fortunate with these wood posts because the power company cuts down telephone poles all the time. Well, if you take the telephone poles, by the way, they want to just get rid of them because they have stockpiles of them. If you call them up, they will drop off. Instead of taking them back to their yard, they'll drop them off at your house at a designated spot. We had them put them in the ditch in my little LS 225 subcompact tractor, put Bobcat forks on the front and just one by one picked them up. I mean, it's about all that LS could take, but picked up power poles with that little tractor, hauled them back. My cousin cut them up because he was out here doing the fence, and I think these are 8 or 9 foot posts, so if they're sticking out of the ground 48, 4 foot, you've got another, whatever you see sticking out of the ground is what's buried in the dirt, roughly. So they're not going to go anywhere. Right now they probably would. Everything's real wet, everything's real mushy. I could probably push one of these if I wanted to. I wouldn't be able to push it over, but I'd be able to wiggle it, especially until we get the braces on them. That's another big step. But yeah, call your power company. They have a ton of posts. They're all either going to get burnt or somebody else is going to take them and use them. So just call them up. Then you can get your basically free posts. There might be a little bit of work you have to do for them, but you know, that's a no-brainer to me. We have a ton of them behind the barn. Let's see. I'm trying to think here. Yeah. So plan is 3-strand high tensile. I've got 2 up right now. They're not up. It's not finished, but I got 2 ran. And then following that, I should be able to put the sheep down in there. The biggest thing is going to be running my wire up here because I don't like where it goes. Let's see. Oh, by the way, this is about a 1-inch post. That's for my straight runs. And this, if you notice, it's no longer going that way. It cuts up this way. This is 1.25 inch post, and it's set at a slight angle because the fence itself is going to wrap around here and go this way, so it's going to have a slight pull on this post and keep it up straight. So then we run up this way, and right here is where the fence, I don't know, I'm kind of back and forth on what I want to do here. Because from here it cuts up again that way at this 1.25 inch post, cuts back up over towards the porta huts. The problem with that we didn't think of is right in this area is our septic field. So we can't do that because we can't, you know, auger a post down. We'll hit the pea gravel for the septic or whatever they use. We'll hit that gravel. But the old fence that used to be here before the tornado cuts through the tree line here. And you can see it goes to a corner. The problem with these corners is the former owner of the property didn't plan to use high tensile, so these corners up here don't have another post here, don't have another post here to create that structural support for a pull this way. So I'm gonna have to make a corner, and I don't know what I'm gonna do there necessarily. I might put a post back this way in this area here probably to be able to pull the wire back towards me. Camera issues. And then I'll have it go up and around that way. That's probably what I'll end up doing. So that white post and that white post I'm probably going to end up pulling out and replacing in this run. I don't want to use T-posts, metal T-posts. The reason I don't want to use metal T-posts is because I'm using electric fence. So the biggest thing with electric is trying to get it to not ground. If you use T-posts on electric fence, every single T-post that you put in the ground is a potential grounding rod, and will ground out your fence if something breaks. So they have a little bit of flex to them, but not a lot. So I really don't want to use T-posts. That's not ideal. Also, sorry for the wind. It's still super windy here. We had close to 100-mile-an-hour winds the other night. I think that was the 13th, maybe 13th. I can't remember now. And it's still a little windy. It dropped down into the 20s last night. I think 22, and it's supposed to get up to 64 today. So with the cold and the heat, you know, duking it out and having a fight, it's going to produce some wind. It is what it is. I'm ready for spring weather, get things done. But yeah, that's kind of the update for today. Please like, subscribe, comment, good, bad, and ugly, all the above. And if you have any suggestions for videos, I love to talk on things. I thought about starting a blog on our website. You can check out our website. It's 4-a-ranch.com. We do have chicken still available. Whole chicken, parted out, all the above. Going to be getting some more birds probably the beginning of April. So yeah, check us out. Like I said, don't forget to like, subscribe, and we'll see you all in the next one.